analysis, project appraisal, security analysis, fuzzy decision making, and financial modeling. On a personal note, I can say this is what is the official thing about sir. But yes, on a personal note, I can say that he is a teacher who is our friend, philosopher, and guide, always there for us. We always learn something new whenever we are either being there in an informal meeting with him or in a formal meeting. He is or has been our very excellent mentor and supervisor for us, and definitely a genuine human being who is always there for his students, whether they are his PhD student at present and those of us who have left after completing our PhD under him. Thank you, sir, for always being there for us. And really, we love
Thank
you
you, Anjali.
and cherish you as teachers.
Thank you for nice introduction. Is my audio video working?
Yes, sir.
Are they working properly? Audio? Are people able to hear?
Yes, sir. You are audible
Yes,
properly,
sir.
and
And yes,
your
sir.
video
And
is
your
also
screen is also, sir, visible. Fine.
visible.
Okay. Okay. So now we can start.
So I'll just take a minute. We'll leave the
Okay,
chat
sure.
box on, sir. Okay, thank request. I'm requesting again the chat box has to be used now only for the purpose of asking queries relating to the session from Professor C.P. Gupta. No other message should come. Otherwise, I'll just I will just remove that person, whoever is asking any other thing in that group. Thank you. Thank
So can we start, Anjali, now?
you. Yes, sir.
Okay. So welcome, friends, and good morning to all of you. And the agenda for my session is understanding hypothesis testing and parametric test for hypothesis testing. That's what we are going to talk about in this
Hello.
morning session. Yes, Anjali. Yes, Anjali.
Sir, you can continue, sir.
Uh, is my screen clear?
Yes, sir. Your screen is very clear, sir.
Okay. So, friends, let's start our session with two important thoughts. And normally, I start my session with these two important thoughts. First, it is very important for us as a teacher and a researcher. That is, if you cannot explain something, you don't understand it well. That's very important for us. We have to understand we understand.
Your voice is not clear, sir.
What's the problem in it?
Now it is clear, but previously your voice is not clear, sir. So someone raised the questions.
Shuttam, if you are able to hear it,
Yes,
then
sir. I'm able to hear, sir.
problem will be at their end.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So friends, I was talking about we must understand the distinction between what we know and what we understand. And as a researcher, there is one thing that's important, but understanding that is very, very, very important for us. And please, all my request to researchers and teachers is whatever you are trying to learn it and understand it. Otherwise, you cannot explain it simply. Second part is if you know nothing about statistics and missing side beat in your life. So statistics is something which is very important for all of us, and we should not be afraid of it. We should start loving it. I tell you, you will get a lot of advantages when you start loving statistics. What are the statistics as learning from data to so data and statistics help us in getting the response
Excuse
of.
me, sir, your voice is breakable. So,
I don't know why it is breakable,
when you are talking to me, it is good, sir. But when you're giving the lecture, it is breaking, sir.
but why it's breaking when I am talking to you? It's
It's
okay.
good.
Then why it's breaking?
I don't know, sir. Maybe the cable you are using is not appropriate or in good
I don't
position,
know.
sir.
I don't know. I
When
try to
you
hear louder so that people can
no,
understand it.
when you are talking to me, it is very, very good, sir. But
Okay.
when you lecture, giving the lecture, it is
So that
breaking, sir.
that means there is not a problem from my end. The problem is the participant's end, or
Oh,
maybe the traffic is very high, and because of that, the quality of audio may be, getting affected.
it's,
But
it's,
Purushottam,
okay,
as long as you are able to hear it, I think you should not worry about
okay, okay, sir.
it. Okay. So friends, I was saying that statistics that we have a lot of statistics to build our own capabilities, deliver meaningful research from our data. So friends, don't be afraid of statistics. Start loving it. Build your capability and start delivering meaningful results from your data. Okay. Now let's move ahead with something interesting, and I will request all of you, please watch this clip very carefully.
You're right. No. Oh, hey, Mom.
An attitude, a positive attitude will take you anywhere. So friends, what is important for us, Purushottam?
Yes, sir.
It says that low resources, and because of that low resources, audio quality is affected. I'm
Mm,
getting this message again and again.
sir, everything is fine from my side, sir.
I don't know,
Are you using both, sir, mobile and computer as well?
but that doesn't make a difference because I'm not using video or audio of my desktop.
Okay, sir. It is absolutely fine, sir. From my side, you are very good audible, sir.
And my request is that those who are not able to hear properly, please log in again Maybe you find that you are able to hear properly.
Yes, sir.
Okay, let me continue, and Purushottam will take care of your audio problem. But I don't think the problem is from my side. Okay, and with the note that this workshop is a workshop to develop a right attitude towards learning. And please note that attitude is a little thing, but that makes a big difference. Okay, so friends, let's start with the right attitude and with the desire to learn. So I hope all of you are ready with me and move along with me and try to understand. And if you are not able to understand anything related to what we are talking about, you can raise your hand and you can put your query in chat. So before we start today's agenda, uh, think what is the most important input for a researcher, for research. That is something which we have to look at. What is that which is more important, which is the most important input the a researcher is getting? Any idea? Anyone would like to respond to it through chat? What is the most important thing which you need for your research? And especially in the social sciences, where you will find out, you know, the problems are not that not that crisply defined, and we have to struggle a lot to understand what exactly we have to do in our research work. Okay, and you will find that the most important thing is data. Data is most important. Yes, some of you are saying data, and I am happy that you are able to understand it. And some people are saying old research. Old research may help you in building up your research gap, but that is not that essential input. The essential input is the data with which you have to work. Whatever hypothesis you are putting forward, whatever you want to prove, which you have put forward, okay? So how do we do it? By using data. That's one of the challenge we have before us. How do we process data? We process data by making use of statistical tools and by making use of software. That means, friends, you have to build your capabilities in two things when you are processing your data. Capability one, you must understand the statistical tools which are going to use. And second, you must also learn the software with which you are trying to get the results by using your statistical tools. Okay, so in this session, we will be talking about statistical tools and as well as the software, and we will try to build our capabilities in that regard. Our agenda for the day is, see, whenever you talk about the research process, you'll find you should have an idea, you should have research hypothesis, data, you need the statistical tools and software for processing the data, you will get output and the result, and you have to get the inferences about it. So friends, I'm assuming that you have the idea with you, you have the research hypothesis with you, you have the data with you, and our challenge is this one. How to understand statistical tools and the relevant software, how to get the output and the result, and how to get the inferences and the interpretation from the output which we have obtained from statistical software. And friends, we will be using two softwares, the Excel and SPSS. Okay, I believe that most of you will be having SPSS, but those who are not having SPSS, don't worry. Most of our work will be on Excel. And I believe that all of you are having Excel with you. I also understand that you got the necessary files by the coordinators of the program. Okay.
It has been sent.
Okay. Thank you, Anjali. So please note that we shall use Excel SPSS for data processing. What a researcher, as a researcher, what is the first thing we should do with our data? We should describe our data by using tables and charts and graphs. So let's take an example. Suppose we have a data like this: distance traveled from house to a mall, number of children in the family, frequency of buying. Okay, and I want to describe this data in a tabular form. So you can have tables like this, okay, which is a cross step, and these numbers are nothing but frequency. And if you want, you can also express it in terms of percentage, depending upon what exact information you want to get from this particular table. So friends, whenever you start working with your data, you please describe, summarize your data by making necessary tables. Along with that, it is also required that you must make necessary graphs. So for example, the same data can be put it in this graph like this. Okay, so one child family, this is the graph, and this is the graph. And then you can also understand the behavior of the result. Say for example, 5 to 10 kilometers, it's 14, 15, 20, less than 5 kilometers, 15, 15 this, and more than 6 kilometers, you get the 6, 9, 8. And what you get most is the maximum you will find in less than 5 kilometers. Frequency of buying is comparatively high. So preliminary inferences you can get by looking at the graphs. Okay.
सर थोड़ा सा वॉइस का सर हो सकता है वो ना बीच में वाइब्रेशन होके ब्रेक हो रही है वॉइस.
ये ना रिसोर्सेज की प्रॉब्लम आ रही है, उसमें बार बार मैसेज आ रहा है कि लो ऑन रिसोर्सेज एंड मे इम्पैक्ट द क्वालिटी ऑफ ऑडियो.
सर मैं चैट को बंद करवा दूं थोड़ी देर,
करा दो.
शायद फर्क पड़े. हाँ, आई पुरुषोत्तम चैट बंद कर दे थोड़े दिन.
अंजलि तुम्हें सुनाई दे रहा है क्लियरली?
सर वो बीच में ना ऐसे जहाँ पे आप करते हो वहाँ पे ना हमिंग होके वो वॉइस एकदम शेक हो जाती है, इसलिए मैंने डिस्टर्ब किया सर आपको.
ओके,
मैं चैट बंद करा देती हूँ सर, थोड़ा उससे शायद लोड कम हो जाएगा सर.
ठीक है.
हाँ पुरुषोत्तम थोड़ी देर के लिए चैट बंद कर दो. The participant can put the questions in the Q&A box.
I disabled the chat, ma'am.
हाँ कर दो. Thank you. We can have some questions at the end.
Anjali, we can open in between also. Can I ask somebody to respond?
I will open at that time.
हाँ.
No worry about it, sir. I'm here.
We are here only when we.
Okay, should we start?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So friends, you can describe your data by making tables and by making suitable graphs and charts. Along with that, you can also, use descriptive statistics to highlight the various dimensions of the data, like measures of central tendency, measures of dispersion, measures of symmetry, measures of wickedness. So these four dimensions of the data you can describe by providing basic statistics or descriptive statistics about your data. These are something to begin with. You cannot get any kind of conclusion or inference from it, but they give you an idea about what kind of data you have, how data is behaving, okay, whether you have outliers or not. All those information you can get when you start describing your data by making tables, by making graphs, or by looking at the basic statistics, which is called descriptive statistics. Okay. Can we get all these basic statistics in Excel comfortably and quickly? The answer is yes. And for that, you have to use data and data analysis utility. And in that utility, you will find the option descriptive. Statistics. So friends, open up a file which I have sent to you. It says hypothesis testing. Please open up that particular file and take any sheet, go to data. There you will find the option of data analysis. In that data analysis, you pick the option of descriptive statistics, give the required input, and you will find you are able to get all the basic statistics of your data. Okay. Friends, if you are not able to see data analysis utility in your Excel, then you can add it, and I'm showing you a video how you can add that utility in your Excel. Okay. Sorry. I show you how do we do it. You go to File, then Options, Add-ins, then Excel Go, and then you click on the Analysis Toolpack and Analysis Toolpack VBA, and then you say OK. If you do it, you will be able to find the option of data analysis in your Excel. Okay, like this, data analysis. Okay, that's what you get. Is that okay? Shuttam, try if you can open up the chat, because I should also get the response from these participants whether they are able to.
I opened the chat, sir.
Okay. So friends, are you able to see the data analysis in your Excel? Okay, so there is a request to explain it again, so I do it again. So friends, please go to File, then click Options, Add-ins. Then at the end, bottom you will see Manage Excel Go. You click on Go and click on your Analysis Toolpack VBA, and then you say OK, and you will be able to get the data analysis option. Okay, so Friends, let me open a file with the name of hypothesis testing. So friends, we shall be working with it. There is a file, there is a sheet with the name of marks in mathematics. Uh, Friends, are you with me on this worksheet? Then you go to data analysis, descriptive statistics, then input range. My input range is from here to here. Take with labels in the first row. Okay, then I get the output. So it says summary statistics. Then you say okay, and you will get the results. And now you can see you got the mean, you got the standard error, median, mode, and range, minimum, maximum, sum, and tau. So friends, this utility is very useful for us by making use of data analysis, data analysis, descriptive statistics. Don't forget to click summary statistics, and the whole statistics you will get. And you can have this basic statistics for different variables simultaneously. Okay, good. So friends, having understood the basic statistics, which you can get from Excel quickly, let's move further to our main agenda, and that is the hypothesis testing. Okay, but before that, if you have any query, any question, you can throw that question to me. Uh, People are saying repeat it. I don't know what they are asking me to repeat. Please do it at your end. Go to data analysis, select the input range, click on the summary statistics. Everything will be before you. Okay, so you can give a try and you can do it. Okay, so there is a request of how to add the data analysis. So click on file. In that, you will get the options. When you click the options, you get add-ins. Click on add-ins at the bottom. You will find add-ins Excel option along with Go. Click on Go and you will get the window. And in that window, you click, data analysis tool pack, and data analysis will option will be there before you. Okay, what I'm saying is that is for Excel 2010 onwards, but those who are having Excel 2007, they have to follow a different route, and I do not know right now how to do it in that case. Okay. So please remember that as a researcher, we are supposed to create knowledge. And for that, we have to find out answers for our research problems. Okay. So research problems can be answered by making what is called a research hypothesis. So let's have a look at some of the research issues I've taken from different aspects. But before that, have a look at this advertisement. And then that I would like to know what is research hypothesis in this case.
मम्मी ने कहा था कुछ भी हो भीगना मत बारिश ने मेरा सॉलिड पप्पू बनाया और बीमार भी मैं
बारिशों में बच्चों को भीगने से रोकना आसान है पर जर्म्स को रोकना इसीलिए डाबर च्यवनप्राश इसमें है आंवला अश्वगंधा जैसे 41 आयुर्वेदिक हर्ब्स जो बारिश में भी बनाए इम्यूनिटी.
Okay, see, I'm sharing with you this advertisement because this hints us at a research idea, and that is, do you think using children in advertisement has any good impact or bad impact on the psychology of the children? Okay, so that could be a probable hypothesis which you as a researcher would like to answer. And for that, you have to have data to answer that. Friends, for research questions, many times you have to formulate research hypotheses which to be answered by making use of suitable data. Another example which I'm sharing with you, it says the purpose of the project is to know how NPA level affect the profitability of a bank. That means the researcher is working with an hypothesis that NPA levels will affect the profitability of the bank, which he or she would like to, answer by making use of hypothesis testing. Another example, to examine impact of brand on influencing consumers to purchase a product. That hints that researcher is having a hypothesis which he would like to answer. Another hypothesis of the study have been drafted like this: routine investments are more frequent than growth-related investments. Borrowed funds are the most frequently used for financing capital expenditure. Look at this. You know why I'm sharing this? Most of the research in social sciences have research hypothesis. And to answer that research hypothesis, we have to build capability in ourselves to, get meaningful conclusions for to answer those hypotheses. Okay, so friends, formulation of hypothesis is important. Nevertheless, getting meaningful inferences about those hypotheses from your data is also equally important. So all this shows an important fact about many researchers, and that is many times a researcher has to confront with hypothesis. And I believe and I assume that you as a researcher must be also confronting with your research hypothesis. To test the hypothesis, the researcher collects data, use a statistical tool for hypothesis testing for proving or disproving the research hypothesis. So friends, are you ready for taking challenges of statistical hypothesis testing? And that's the objective of this particular session, to make our capabilities to take up challenges of statistical hypothesis testing. So let's move it into our journey. Okay. So first, we make our basics strong, and then we will proceed with the exact task of hypothesis testing. Okay. So let's begin with hypothesis testing. And first of all, let's understand the nature of the data. And data could be nominal, ordinal, interval scale data, or ratio scale data. And normally this interval scale data and ratio scale data are called scale data. Friends, I'm not going into details of it. I believe that you understand what is nominal data, ordinal data, interval scale data, and ratio scale data. Normally, you will find ordinal and nominal data, we make use of non-parametric tests, while for scale data, you can make use of parametric tests. Please understand that whenever you have nominal and ordinal data, always use non-parametric test. You cannot use, parametric test for ordinal and the nominal data. But interval scale data and the ratio scale data, you may think of using scale data. I'm using the word you may think of using parametric tests. But it is not necessary that you must use parametric tests for scale data. It depends upon certain things that we are going to talk about as we proceed further. Okay, so friends, let's understand what is a hypothesis. It's a formally stated expectation about how a behavior operates. It's a tentative guess about a behavior or a relation. It's a proposition that an investor would like to verify. It's a conjectural statement of the relation between two or more variables. Something which you assume, something which you guess, that you want to put on test is what is called hypothesis. Let's look at the basic elements of hypothesis testing. And I assume that you already know them in detail. I'm just putting them for making you aware of the basic steps involved in the test of hypothesis. We have to formulate a null hypothesis, which is normally represented by H naught. If H naught is not true, what is true? That is your alternative hypothesis, H1. Define a suitable test statistic, that may be Z, that may be T, that may be chi-square, that may be F, or some other statistics. Define your level of significance, which is normally taken as 5%. Define a suitable decision criteria based on your level of significance and test statistics. Make necessary assumptions if required. Do the calculations, and finally come out with your decision and conclusions. Okay. Okay, now let's look at some of the definitions which we have used in that steps of hypothesis testing. I have already defined hypothesis as a formally stated expectation about how a behavior operates. It's a tentative guess about a behavior relation. It is something that a researcher wants to verify. Okay. An assumption of no change, no effect One that nullifying the effect of a particular experiment that maintains status quo is what is called the null hypothesis. If the null hypothesis is not true, what is true is called the alternative hypothesis. Okay? Right? If H naught is true, then we say H1 is true. Friends, in this regard, I would like to draw your attention between two concepts. One is called research hypothesis, and another concept is called a statistical hypothesis, which are always there in a pair in terms of H naught and H1. So friends, do you appreciate the difference between a research hypothesis and a statistical hypothesis? Tiwari, are you there? Anyone would like to make a distinction between a research hypothesis and a statistical hypothesis?
Yes, sir, I am there. Unfortunately, it was muted. Sorry.
How do we see the difference between these two? Tiwari, you are on.
Sir, just give me a minute.
Okay. Sushmita, okay. Tiwari, you hold on. Let me explain because you're taking time.
Yes.
Friends, please understand the difference between a research hypothesis and a statistical hypothesis. The research hypothesis is that which a researcher wants to prove. Please understand that. Something which you want to prove, that will be your research hypothesis. So for example, I want to prove that NPA impacts banks' profitability. So that will be my research hypothesis. Okay. I want to prove that number of children in a family impacts frequency of visiting to malls. That I want to prove it. That will be my research hypothesis. But if I say that NPA has no impact on profitability of a bank, that will be my null hypothesis. Alternatively, it has an impact. That's my H1. Normally, you will find that research hypothesis is same as your alternative hypothesis. And I'm using the term normally. And of course, in majority of the cases, these two are same. So friends, when you write your research hypothesis, be clear about it, okay? Then we have test statistics. It's statistic to be calculated on the basis of sample data following a particular sampling distribution. And I said you can have Z statistics, E statistics, chi-square, F. These are all examples of test statistics. Then we have what is called level of significance. It represents the probability of rejecting a true null hypothesis. Okay? It represents the probability that the difference between actual observation and the assumed hypothesis cannot be attributed to randomness. It is that level where the difference is considered to be significant from the what we can attribute to the randomness. Okay, friends, I'm not talking about this in details because I think and assume that you must have discussion of it in the yesterday's sessions. Okay, then we have a decision criteria. On the basis of that, we decide whether the null is to be accepted or to be rejected. Okay. Many of you have given difference between research hypothesis and statistical hypothesis, like Dr. Venkatesan and Megha Agarwal, and okay, S.A. Madhavan, and primarily they are saying that what you want to prove that can be taken as a research hypothesis and statistical hypothesis are null and alternatively, and accordingly you have to define them. So thank you very much for responding to my queries. Continuing with our discussion, we have tests which are two. Every test is having tails, and you can have a one-tail test or you can have a two-tail test. So if your rejection region is on one side, then we say one-tail test, like this. It's a one-tail test example. Or but if you have rejection region on both the sides of the tail, then you have two-tail test. Okay. Now, how do we decide whether we are going to have a one-tail test or not? It does not depend upon null hypothesis, which is normally equal to. It depends upon your alternative hypothesis. For example, if my null is mean is equal to 60, alternative is mean is not equal to 60, then it is a two-tail test. It can be on the lower side, it can be on the higher side. But if I say alternative hypothesis is the mean is greater than 60, that means I'm talking about one side, one tail, or this tail. So if your alternatives hypothesis is having inequality signs, then it will be one-tail test. If it is not equal to, then it will be two-tail test. And friends, be clear in your mind what exactly you are looking forward. Are you looking forward one-tail test? Are you looking forward two-tail test? Because I have observed many researchers are blindly following two-tail test. Though they need one-tail test, but blindly they are following two-tail test. And therefore, please be careful about it. Every decision which we take is subject to errors, which are called type 1 error and type 2 error. If a true hypothesis is rejected, if null is true and it is rejected, this is called type 1 error. And if null is true, sorry, null is false, and we have accepted it, then it is called a type 2 error. Type 1 error is normally represented by alpha. Type 2 error is represented by beta. And type 1 error is always equal to alpha. Okay, so H naught is true, reject H naught, type 1 error, this is not true, and we accept that's your type 2 error, beta and alpha. And please remember, if you try to reduce alpha, your beta will increase for a given sample size n. Okay,